He goes for that man.
228 games for Melbourne. 428 goals. One goal kicking for the D's 4 times. Rockstar. Still playing for Doveton Eagles at 40.
I could just watch those highlights all day long. I'm sure you could too. G'day and welcome to the GameFace Footy Show for the Outer East competition. I am joined by 2 experts in their own minds, but they certainly are. Firstly, I'll go to you, Matt Fottier. Matt Fottier is the Footy Media Manager for the Outer East competition. How are you, Matt?
I'm pretty good, Robbo. Better now for seeing you, mate.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yep.
Absolutely. Excited for the season coming up?
Absolutely, mate. Can't wait for the footy season. I think I tweeted the other day that this is the most excited I've been for a footy season since 2009 when I was adamant the Hawks would go back-to-back. Buddy, you kick 200 and Chance Bateman to win the Brownlow, but it wasn't to be.
Sensational. Good on you, mate. Someone who's always excited, the bloke next to you, the coach. How are you, coach?
You almost said expired.
I'm inspired because look at we're talking footy, mate.
Someone made a bet with me. They said, how long before the coach drops his first name? Well, a very good friend of mine many years ago, Steve Wall, said to me, there it is, first, it didn't take us long, did it?
Are we going to have enough room to pick all these up at the end?
Said to me, he said, Coach, you know what you've got? I said, what have I got? He said, you've got a face full of character. And I said, what's that mean? He said, you're old.
You're old. You've been around a long time.
That was when Steve Wall was playing, wasn't it?
That's when he was playing. Under 16s for Bankstown.
Now, Coach, you always seem to bob up around the Outer East competition. Tell me why that is. What interest do you have out there?
Well, it's funny. I was living in Sherbrooke, which is in the Yarra Ranges, of course, the Outer East, the old Yarra Ranges comp. And I've since moved from Sherbrooke, and I've got a lot of friends, worked a lot with the people in Monbulk, especially at the cricket club, and hi to everybody at Monbulk, and what a great job they've done in fixing up their ground.
Levelled it off?
And well,
Oh, no, they haven't levelled it off. They've kept that. They like the downhill, they reckon, coming home in the last quarter.
Tell the story about that quickly.
Oh, we chatted to Lucas Jury on the media day, and he said they've done everything up. The outfield's perfect. We've been running on it, but we've still got the big downhill slope. Whereas if you stand at one end of the ground, you can't see the other. So if you're coming home in the last quarter, just kicking downhill, you should be fine.
To behold.
But the thing is, I don't know if it came from you or we were talking before with somebody, I think it might have been at Worry Alec or someone like that, and they were saying that the reason they didn't spend the extra money on flattening it was it cost them around $500,000 to actually get it fixed, and it would have cost another $500,000 to get rid of it. So they thought they may as well spend that on facilities, and it's an advantage. You ever been to Lords? Lords have got a hill there like that, not 8 metres, but big enough.
Well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for Monbulk. I've played for those guys. They are a great club. Now, boys, we're going to be bringing everything across the 3 divisions in the Outer East. Looking forward to doing that. And here's some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. Top stories, bringing a special guest each week. Team of the week, guys. That's going to be tough. How are you going to go about that?
Well, I'm hoping to handball it off to a few other blokes, but I guess we've got an eye on almost every game this year.
Yeah, good on you. And we'll have an eye on the rising stars, the young guns coming through. We'll have a funny segment. I'm looking forward to this one because it's all about the best food at the canteen. Now, it might be the burger, it might be the dim sim. I'm not quite sure, but boys, you know as well as I do. You go to a footy club anywhere, you go straight to that canteen and you judge the club on how good the food is behind the counter.
Well, the secret is cook the bacon well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't give me fatty bacon.
Just make sure it's cooked, really.
Exactly.
Everything is cooked. Coach of the Week's going to be a good one. We're going to highlight some of the best coaches out there. Anyone who wants to come and have a chat to us and talk about their club, looking forward to doing that. The best Facebook post of the week. Now, this could have some conjecture, Coach. Do you know what Facebook is? Social media. It's probably a little bit before your time or after your time. What is it?
Look, I'm very computer literate.
You are.
The only thing is, I don't like to do it on a personal level. I like to do it on a business level, because on a few occasions I have had 1 or 2 drinks too many, and I think, no, I better not, but it gets you in a lot of trouble. So I'm very careful on a personal level. On a business level, for GameFace, go to the Facebook page.
I'll tell you what, every AFL club has someone come in and talk to them about that. Just make sure you shut down your social media as soon as you've had a couple of beers. All right, fantastic. Look, interesting year for these 2 competitions. They've been brought together. A lot's been made of it. It's about to happen. Matt, you're the man with the finger on the pulse. You've been there for a while now, especially with the Yarra Rangers.
Yeah.
How are they feeling up there about bringing in these Ethnal guys?
Oh, initially there was a bit of conjecture and a scepticism, I think mainly from the clubs that were enjoying their time at the top of the tree, but similar to the Sethnal clubs with the main 3 or 4 always winning the premierships. The problem was there was too big of a divide between Division 1 and Division 2. So you would find clubs, for example, Belgrave won in 2017, went up to 2018 and only just managed to beat one side. Warburton and Millgrove spent about 5 or 6 years in Division 1 and have only managed to stay up in 9th year after year, and they've lost the joy of footy. So I think the clubs that were in the middle range between being too good for Division 2 and not good enough for Division 1 are really going to enjoy it. And it'll be the same with some of the Sefnal clubs, coach, with Officer, Doveton, Pakenham, those sort of guys. And I think the top clubs from both divisions, once they get over themselves, I think they'll be enjoying the fact that they'll be able to play some strong competition.
Yeah, well, Coach, you were at the grand final last year, Berwick-Narre Warren. Was it a good grand final, first and foremost?
Not really.
No.
No. It was.
So something has to happen.
Well, it was. Look, I'll be brutally honest. It wasn't a fantastic game to watch, but that's how they play. It's how Berwick played, or they played like that. Then, of course, their coach has since gone. He's moved on. And they've got their old coach from a couple of seasons back. So they're looking to attack more and more, and I think they're probably going to have to do that in Outer East. Having said that, they're excited. Berwick are really excited. I know Beaconsfield are getting involved in it as well. Narre Warren, Cranbourne, of course, there was a story about Cranbourne. Where were they going to go last year? In the end, they were going to go to different divisions, or they were going to go to MPNFL, and in the end, they've ended up in Outer East. And I think at this stage, and I know it's probably easy to say, but I think at this stage, no one's really sure what's going on. Because I was talking to a young guy. Where was it? At Warri Alec, I forget his. And I said, "What are you looking forward to the most about playing against Beaconsfield and Berwick and these sides from the Sefnal?" You know what he said? He said, "Oh, I hear Tucky's pretty tough. I want to come up against Tucky." You might have played against Tucky. I don't know if you ever did. So so I'm really looking forward to going up against him. I don't know how I'm going to handle him. So, you know what I mean? There's that young feeling as well. The young people, they're really excited about having a crack. And who knows? What do they say? You in the mouths of babes.
Yeah.
You've got nothing to lose, have you?
Yeah. Well, I played that long ago. I might have played against Michael Tuck rather than the younger fellas. Matty, obviously some great clubs are coming from the Sefnal. Obviously, your Berwicks and your Narre Warrens, but the great clubs like your Warri Yallock, they've always been a really successful club. Who's going to have the biggest rival there when it comes to smashing in together?
I think it'll be Wandon and Berwick. They're playing a standalone game on Sunday the 14th to cap off round one, and obviously the two premiers. And I think Wandon are the most prepared, and they're excited for it. They've probably got the most recruiting power. They've got a fair bit of money down there, and they'll be looking forward to playing Berwick. And I think Berwick will probably go in favourites. I'd have Berwick favourites to win the whole thing. But I think if Wandon could take that scalp, I think the whole of the Yarra Rangers clubs would be really behind them to sort of. Because I think most of the consensus coming from outside is that the Sefnal clubs will probably do pretty well. Berwick should have everyone's cover, and I believe that as well. But I think most of the Yarra Rangers clubs, who don't often get around Wandon, will be pretty happy if Wandon can beat them in that
Wandon's
first year.
one of those real blue-collar clubs too, real workhorses.
Yeah, they're all pretty like that, aren't they? Yeah. There wouldn't be many clubs out in the old Yarra Rangers that weren't blue-collar.
But Wandon exceptionally. I reckon they'll go well against the things like Narre Warren.
They've got the firepower of Daniel Gorringe and stuff like that, but that have come across. But yeah, they'll be the ones prepped for it. The style of footy they played in the grand final last year was just that fast breakneck, and they'll be enjoying the big grounds of the Sefnal. I was out at Beaconsfield the other day, home park. I think a few of the Yarra Rangers clubs might get caught out going from the little paddocks they've got, well, not paddocks, but the little tiny sort of outfields we've got out at Alinda and Warri, going out to Beaconsfield, which is the size of Etihad. They might get caught out on the hop.
Coach, any whispers of players moving? So not necessarily players moving, but any whispers of things going on out there at Clubland? And let's talk a bit about player movements in the off-season.
To be totally honest, at this stage, I haven't heard too much. What I have heard, though, and you just touched on it then about Alinda and the smaller grounds, because I don't know if people watching this, obviously a lot of you would understand that Alinda does have a small ground. Have you ever been to the Alinda ground? Do you know what it's called? It's called the Chip Oval.
No, that's Seville.
That's
Coach.
Seville.
You've got them confused there. So Seville's the chip. So Seville's got one. It's a potato chips, and you get the
the Pringles.
So if you're on one wing, it's pretty hard to switch it to the other wing up here. So
you know why I think that? Why I thought that? Because I coached my boy. I'm making excuses as if I do know something what I'm talking about. But I coached my boy played Alinda at Seville. I don't know.
But Alinda has also got its unique factors. They tried an early morning game there. The 18s usually can't see the other end of the game with the fog. So I'm not sure how a few more of the boys coming out across that. It's just where Alinda is.
I grew up in Tasmania, mate. That was an everyday occurrence. It happened at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
You're the expert, mate. You're the expert.
I'll save you, Coach. I'll save you.
You pull me out of it again.
So, boys, we'll crystal ball gaze a little bit here and think about who's going to finish up where in each division. It might be a little bit hard to say this because we're bringing two competitions together. But to your mind, you guys are the experts. Who's going to go well?
Like I said, I think Berwick will be still probably have a bit of leg up on the competition just the way they're structured. Glenn Gambetta does such a good job as the president with his business mind. But I think Beaconsfield will be a big jump for me, the way they're set up out there. That the club seems very professional. Went out there the other day and they're just a great club. They're all very excited. And I think Cranbourne will be hurt by the fact they weren't allowed into the Mornington, and the late decision to be not allowed in there, then come to us, has hurt them, with players then going, Mark Holt most notably, going to Carringal in the Mornington League. So I think that'll hurt Cranbourne the most, so I don't see them making the 5. But I think Beaconsfield will give it a good run. And then Wandon and Alinda for mine from the Yarra Rangers clubs. Alinda's coach, Brendan Donovan's been on the phone to him. He seems the coach who's been most prepared to sort of look at the way the two games styles might have to change, and he seems prepared to play both at home and take advantage of the small ground and the fog, but also open up their game style when they get out of the big wide expanses.
Well, Berwick played a very defensive-oriented game last year, didn't they? For the last 2 seasons, and they won the flag. But they've told me now, with the new old coach, they're definitely going to be playing an attacking brand of footy. So I'm looking at Berwick, Beaconsfield. I think they're a real show, and I think that the other teams from former Yarra Rangers, Wandon for sure.
Matty is a big monkey still out there at the bar at Woori, Alex.
He's always out there. If you come knocking, if the Hawks aren't playing on a Saturday, he's a couple of his boys still running around. So the big monk, he played a couple of years ago as well. He wouldn't be the worst bloke to get down there out at Woori when the big boys come to play. Just set him in the square. You're not getting around him. So it's always fun going to watch the Hawks games, and you see the ruckman warm up, and big monkey's just still eating them alive.
I tell you, that's a great ground though, isn't it? At Woori.
At Woori,
If it rains a bit, it's not a great ground.
No, well, most grounds like that doesn't rain a bit. So, yeah, they'll
nice
be
and big.
We love our winter sport, don't you worry about that. It's a lot of anticipation about what's going on within this league coming up because of the combining of the two. I can't wait to see this kick off this season. I'm sure you boys be out there trying to find out as much as you possibly can about what's going on.
He knows it all already.
That's what we want to hear at GameFace and the Outer Eastern Footy Show. We know everything.
Exactly.
I'm a virgin Outer Eastern person.
I was going to say, you're going to elaborate on that, Jeff? Or?
Place full of character, remember?
All right, I love this next segment because it comes with it a little bit of conjecture. Hotly debated on social media. It's the top 35. And we're going through all our leagues here, and each division gets a crack. We've gone through Div 1 and Div 2. We're still counting down in the Premier League, but boys, talk me through the top 35. We won't go through all of them, but the top 3 or 4 from each one, because you guys know the players specifically. Has there been any stuff out there? Have you heard anything about guys missing out? Because, geez, I tell you what, they get upset if they're not in the top 35.
I tell you what, Robbo, I'm lucky I'm not the one picking that list out there as well, and that's a disclaimer. I didn't have anything to do with it, Coach. So for anyone throwing barbs out there, they weren't happy with the omission of Liam Barnard from Warburton. Back-to-back B&Fs down there at the Burrows out there. It's a big drive out there to Warburton, Coach. You'll be out there. You've been out there soon enough?
I've been out to Warburton. I love it out there. It's a beautiful part.
The Burrows? Well, they weren't laughing about Liam Barnard missing the top 35 there at all. And there was a couple of comments that weren't very happy that Shane Williams from Monbulk, the lively forward there, came in at number 2 behind Callum Urquhart.
So what would you pick?
Look, I was pretty happy with the list, to be honest.
And what the office? The office were happy with it?
Oh, the office were happy with that, of course. Danny Ryan, football development manager, he had a fair hand in picking that list, so he was pretty happy with how his selection wound up. He's still been bugging me for a retro section, so I think we could get him on here, and he'd love to do an open mic sort of setup on his career.
To be here?
No, he's flat stick at the moment, mate, so I'll give him a chop out there.
We're all busy, Danny.
Yeah, we are all busy.
Getting during the year. Well, talk me through the top 3 of each one.
Top 3, James Walden, young ginger fella from Officer, tough nut, and I think he'll be one that'll really take advantage of the smaller grounds when they come out to play, your Warburtons and your Belgraves and your Emeralds from Officer. And I'm expecting big things from the Roos this year after building with Doug Coop, and had a chat to Doug. He's a wonderful man, Doug. He's always a bit late apparently to things, but he's a good man, and I'm expecting big things from then. Shane Williams from Monbulk, been around for a while and continues to kick bags. I think kicked a bag 7 last year at one stage. And Monbulk, another side in Division 1 that'll be taking advantage of sort of being in the middle of Division 1 in the Yarra Rangers. They'll be hoping to take advantage of the restructure. And then Mount Evelyn's Callum Urquhart, he's pretty good either end of the ground. And yeah, nice fella, nice good mark over the head. And again, Mount Evelyn will be one of the ones sniffing. They're trying to break a 20-year drought, I think, premiership this year. So they'll be looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. We've got Division 1 and Division 2 top 3s there.
Yeah, Division 2, Tarkin Lock here. A couple of boys here you would have come up against Robbo. All 3 of them have been on AFL lists. Tarkin Lock here at number 1, Jembrook Cockatoo. playing with his good mate Spud Ferrito, who's in at number 3. Gembrook, they'll be going hard again with Hamish McIntosh on the list as well, and a lot of young fellas. Won their first ever under-18 premiership last year, so they'll be chomping at the bit to get back into round 1 and under coach Brad Collar. And in at number 2, Nathan O'Keefe. He's a good Seville boy and played a bit at Lurdale in the Eastern Footy League, had some good years there, and he's pretty good at both ends of the ground. They've used him as a bit of a swingman recently, Seville. They were disappointing in the grand final last year, but Nathan, club captain, and had a few games down at North Melbourne. So there's a lot more AFL talent in Division 2 than any of the other divisions.
A lot of work has been put into this top 35, coach, and it's not easy because there are some good players out there. They're going to miss out, but it's funny, isn't it? You hear, even at the top level, AFL, you hear blokes get a little bit disappointed if they didn't get like mark of the year or goal of the year.
The great thing, Robbo, is that I don't care what people say about you or us or whatever.
Because no one knows who you are, coach.
Exactly. Well, as long as you're saying something.
That's right.
Who cares? I mean, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's pretty much true in footy, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You get publicity, well, some of the things that have been going on in social media are not probably the greatest. But yeah, it's great. I love the fact that it stirs up that emotion. I mean, you and I spoke off camera about how suburban footy and district footy, club footy, to me, it's really, I've got to be honest, it's reinvigorated my love for Australian rules footy. I was getting a bit bored with AFL, but with the footy last year at MPNFL, and of course what I'm expecting at Outer East, and also in Southern and all these other leagues that we're covering, I'm excited, mate, because people have opinions, people love their clubs, they're all really behind each other, and it's going to be a great year.
Spot on, coach. And speaking of good publicity, GameFace doing their best to bring all the good stuff from the football leagues around this great state of ours. The Outer East, it's going to be huge this year, 2009. I can't wait for you guys to bring me some information on what's going down in Clubland. We can't always be together.
No, we can't.
Unfortunately, I'd love to do this every single week with you because this has been absolutely fantastic. But boys, looking forward to it?
Oh, absolutely, can't wait.
I can't wait at all. Thanks, Robbo. Thanks for your time.
No worries. That's been a GameFace footy show for the Outer East. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors here. We'll see you very, very shortly with another edition of GameFace footy show for the Outer East.